Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Borrowed Time, Lennon's Last Decade. And this is a new documentary from director Alan G. Parker, focusing on the last 10 years of John Lennon's life as he transitioned from being a Beatle into his solo work, his life with Yoko Ono, his anti-war activism, and just the impact that he had on popular culture. Now, this documentary is like 2 hours and 20 minutes. It is a beefy one. You don't generally see a whole lot of documentaries reaching this length, and I do feel like this film doesn't quite earn that. And I think its structure and its storytelling struggles to keep you compelled equally throughout this 2 hour and 20 minute film. I think that despite the fact that, like, it's about this 10-year period in John Lennon's life, I feel like it's so scattered and muddled in terms of what it's focusing on. There's whole, like, based off the runtime, unless you have, like, 50 different things to talk about, you spend a prolonged period of time on certain stories here, and some of them are quite compelling. And some of them feel like, did we need to really go this much in depth on it? And, like, case in point, like, it's an interesting, compelling idea of, like, the aftermath of him getting shot. But you go into all of these different discussions with all these different people, and you're like it felt like half hour of this film just focusing on that. And pacing-wise, this feels very uneven as it's trying to get through over the course of 10 years, and you screech to a halt to spend, like, substantial amount of time on one specific thing. And this film, I think, will definitely benefit those that are big fans. I think those who really love John Lennon and really want to explore this specific period of his life have a lot to dig into. I think this film is going to be a bit alienating to those who are not, like, really into John Lennon or more casual fans who might want to learn a little bit more. I think the 2 hour and 20 minute runtime is a bit much and is going to be a challenge for a lot of viewers, because there's times where this feels quite dry in terms of its presentation and storytelling with some of its interviews. I do think there's some pretty compelling interviews, and those we get to hear from these different musicians and experiences, and you get to see a lot of different sides to Lennon through a lot of these interviews. I just feel like there's certainly elements of this story, elements of his story, his life, that feel like they're very stretched out, while others, we're just moving along here because, we're trying to capture 10 years of a very famous person and significant person's life over the course of 2 hours and 20 minutes. And I feel like this film is not the most focused, structured, well put together of documentaries, but you could definitely tell that there's a passion and a care for this subject, and that Parker really wanted to explore this film, this idea, this snapshot of Lennon's life. And honestly, from like the opening credits, something doesn't feel completely right about it. I don't know, like, I'm not going to talk any specifics about, like, how the opening credits were made, but they seem a little off. And I feel like some of the pacing, the structure, some of the presentation of this film also feels off. But at the end of the day, this is a pretty engrossing and interesting presentation of this period of John Lennon's life, with certainly some specific points along the way that really stand out and really engross you. But those are my thoughts on Borrowed Time, Lennon's Last Decade. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.